another paladin. First time playing another paladin.
I'm gonna multi-class him eventually.
Paladin and bard.
Yeah. Everyone needs to take at least one level bard.
No. What if I do rogue? Paladin and rogue.
Interesting. Very confusing.
Wouldn't mix well.
Well, I'm a warforged.
Actually, rogue mixes really well with paladin, because then that gives you backstab or
I
sneak
understand.
attack.
I'm disengaged. Oh, well, I'm back.
You get smite stats.
Yeah, smite stabs.
And just out of nowhere, just boop, it just engulfs them in flame.
And then
Just with a
pierce.
spork.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's right. I was doing something.
Okay, so yeah, Aaron is on the way. Anthony, if you wouldn't mind getting up and pulling out one of those extra chairs, because I think we'll need one for Aaron. Okay.
Okay. Focus on the table. Start doing the thing I'm supposed to be doing.
All right, so Aaron's on his way. So I'm running a little bit behind because, stupid me, I decided to run the Windows 11 compatibility checker, even though I know my computer is already up to date. I wanted to make sure, and it said, no, your computer can't handle it. I was like, God damn it. And so what it was that I had to turn on secure boot and enable TPM, and in so doing discovered that for some reason my old hard drive was set to GPT, but the brand new SSD was set to MBR, so I had to convert MBR partition to GPT, and then when I did that, now for some reason it keeps trying to install and uninstall my Bluetooth driver, and that's where I'm currently at. So yeah, I'm not fucking
Hello.
Howdy.
There he
That was
is.
really fast. I'm less fast.
Oh yeah.
So late, man.
Yeah, you might need to,
So-
Anthony. You might need to swap
Yeah.
chairs and
Is this Chris's handbook?
No, this is mine.
Yeah.
Oh.
This is good.
does that work? Okay.
Works for me.
I've just gotten used to it.
Oh yeah, my extra spell sheet.
Give me some more room. I don't need this much room. I have.
I was like, what am I doing? Oh, there it is. I couldn't find my bookmark.
Oh, you. Okay, I'm not gonna move the dice straight up.
And Gabe won't be joining us. He's up in Baker today. I don't know why he's up there. I guess but whatever. I know he's not camping because he hates camping.
I used to love camping, but I no longer like it.
Oh, I fucking love camping. I don't know that I'm gonna. I had planned to get up on the mountain a couple of times this summer, and with the weather or with the fire danger, I just don't know that that's gonna happen. Because quite honestly, the way I feel about it is, what is the point of going camping if you can't have a campfire?
It's like the best part. It's the centerpiece of the whole
I
thing.
know. You can't. There's no point. There's just
It's not
zero
sleeping
reason.
in. Might as well just sleep outside then.
Zero.
Yeah. Well, I mean, wild people or wild animals, homeless people. I mean, it's all
What's
the
the
same.
difference?
It's all the same.
Plus 2.
They all smell like skunk, you know. Skunk and salty garbage.
Deception.
So,
Carl.
Bree,
Yeah.
what is your new character's name?
This is my character secret, and I guess it
Oh.
should be public to the party because it's gonna be a side
secret.
quest. It's not a secret.
I'll give you a second. I'll go
I
ahead
have
and
it
introduce
memorized.
our game.
So yeah, now we have a side quest. We gotta get to Luskin.
No, you don't need to go to Listen.
Really?
No. You knew that there was some stuff that was going on from Luskin, but there was no real need to go to Luskin.
I thought
He's telling us not to.
scholar told me to
Do
go
the
there
opposite.
because my slot egg thing.
No,
Oh, really?
that's not what they said.
It's just that Luskin makes the best egg slot sandwich.
Well, yeah. I mean, did you want to announce that to the group that you? Because remember, that's your secret.
I basically already did.
Need a
Okay.
cure.
Well, I mean, you announced it to Rhonda,
Yeah.
And
but
to-
not the rest of these guys.
And players are different than
Yeah.
characters. so.
Yeah, but
I-
these
it's
are
supposed
a
to be-
little bit more than what you don't
Should
want to
be
just
player.
blurt them out.
Yeah.
So anyways, welcome to Rime of the Frostmaiden. This is actually our real first episode. The last episode was kind of a prologue, and we will be kind of picking up from there. Before we start, I'd like to thank the Friends of the Greenwater Guildhall. If you are watching on Twitch and you scroll down, you should see some tiles there. If you do not see the tiles, please feel free to click on my image and those tiles should pop up, and each of those will link to these websites. The first on the list is The Speechless Bard. She and her husband make beautiful leather products for your tabletop games, such as leather covers for your core rule books. She has a full line of dice bracelets. A very popular one this month is the Pride bracelet, where every dice on the bracelet is a different color. She has a dice rolling mat that you can roll up and it looks like a spell scroll. She is over in the UK, so if you're going to order, if you're ordering it as a gift or some kind of time-sensitive purchase, make sure that you give yourself ample time because it takes a while for it to cross the pond and get through the ever-changing U.S. Customs.
And that's where I put.
And the last on the list is the Fable Beard Company. Fable Beard Company makes beard products such as oils, balms, butters, and co-wash. Each of their scent profiles is a different fantasy character. Right now I am wearing the hero that smells like warm cologne and rich tobacco. I'm sure that they have a fantasy character that you will find to your liking, and if you are a first-time purchaser and you log in and create an account, you can get a buy one, get one free option for their beard oil. Just simply pick 2 beard oils, put them in your cart, and if you use the code FIRST, they will discount the second one to free. So definitely give them a look. So we have the rest of the party joining us tonight, and we will be going around the table. You obviously already know Haronda and Crypt. If you watched the last episode, they ran through the prologue and took care of some things, met some Chwinga, and went off into the forest and took care or rescued some stolen ore for some of the dwarves from.
They were ingots. I think they were.
Well, the ingots, yeah.
Yeah.
They were. It was iron ingots that the goblins had stolen, and they put a stop to that. And so here we are with the rest of the group. So, Brady, have you got a name yet?
No.
You don't. Oh, I kind of need a name. Do you have a name?
Yeah.
What is your character's name?
Juck Jock.
Jeff Jock.
Juck Jock.
Oh, Chuck Jock. Okay.
J-U-K-J-O-K.
Juck, juck.
Okay.
And tell us a little bit about Juck Jock.
Juck Jock is an albino lizard folk.
How'd you go with the lizard folk again? Wow.
Hey, we talked about this
You're
online.
a one-track mind, man.
Hey, last time I ever played a lizard folk druid, it only got to level 3 before the campaign ended.
Okay.
So this is just a continuation. It's not like a new.
Son of.
Yeah, son of Rip.
Level 3.
Yeah, Juck Jock, an albino lizard folk. He moved up to the mountains because he was albino and he was different than his other clansmen, and he was always treated different. So he felt like he needed to go somewhere where he knew there would be others of his kind. And the mountains, of course, is the best place for anything white to blend in.
Or a lizard.
Yeah. Yeah. He would, of course, go into town when he needed to trade with the locals. They couldn't be entirely self-reliant on nature, because they couldn't make their warm clothes well enough. That's about it.
Okay.
And Druid, what's the...
Druid.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
Carl, does your character have a name?
My name is Turpin, Turpin.
Okay. Tell us a little bit about Turpin.
Turpin is a ancient human male
Okay.
who spent his entire life making money and burning bridges along the way, and has all this long, interesting backstory of tragedy and trauma that all the people he stomped on his way up. And as he was old and facing this latest trauma, it forced him to reassess his life, and it was just about over, so he decided he dumped everything he had, sold all of his stuff, and generated immense wealth, which allowed him to purchase from a young adventurer a genie's vessel.
Okay.
And he done a lot of research and proceeded to make a deal with the genie, and has accepted a patron that allows him to access magic and restore some of his health that was just about gone. He'd just about drained his life dry, so he's got a little bit of restored health and enough to walk around and that sort of stuff. His health is still his strength is still at 6, but he's not blind with cataracts and unable to walk and all that jazz now, so that's good.
Yeah.
And for the first time in his life, he has access to magic, and he's thrilled with that, and he's looking to redeem himself. So that's the story of Turpin.
Okay.
What class?
He is a warlock. He's got a genie patron.
Anthony, do you have a character name yet?
Yes, Axel. A-X-I-O.
Okay.
Axel.
That's what I was thinking.
Do you know anything about Axel yet?
Axel is a Warforged paladin
Okay.
who has been... where does this take place again?
It's in Icewind Dale, that map there.
Frozen
So
North.
specifically, if you're looking at this big map up here, you are way up here north of the Spine of the World Mountains.
We're in Siberia.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Who has been, so, his name's Axel, he's a Warforged paladin, and he has been wandering the lands, searching for, a purpose, other than fighting.
Could be other than fighting. Yeah, I don't know that you're in the right place. I don't know that you're on the right planet.
Are you sure you're playing the right game?
Right. Yeah. Maybe you should check out Call of Cthulhu.
Well, he might spend this whole adventure still searching.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, it's
And, he
the
also
journey.
sucks at navigation, so he wandered into Icewind Dale.
Well, as a paladin, I can tell you there's probably a lot of good reason that you might have been drawn to Icewind Dale. As these two know, so you are starting in the town of Brynshander, which is right there. Brynshander. So there are 10 towns in the Dale region, known as the 10 towns, and they don't really have like a capital. But if there was, you could pretty much make Brynshander the unofficial capital. It is the largest city, and I think I have.
It's somewhat central, so it has access to most of the other 10 towns easily.
Got your handbook, right?
So this is Brynshander. It is a walled town. As you can see, there are 3 gates: the southwest, north, and east gate. Brynshander, like I said, if there was a capital, this would be it. When all of the 10 towns are in some kind of danger. And this hasn't happened for maybe 100 years at least, I would say, from the time of Troubles, at the very most. All of the people, all the 10 towns will come to Brynshander and hide behind walls, and basically take umbrage there. And at intervals, irregular intervals, the speaker of each town will meet. They'll all meet in Brynshander, and they will discuss matters that are of concern for the Dale, Icewind Dale as a whole. Now, one such conversation going on is the fact that it has now been winter for over 2 years. And that's not just to say that, you know, these last 2 summers have sucked. No, it has literally been winter for 2 years. The sun, when it rises, will not rise above the mountain range. So basically, like, even in the middle of the day, it's like twilight. And then in the evening, it is very long nights, very dark. And the Aurora Borealis scatters over every night across the region. Some say that that is the magic cast by Auril the Frostmaiden, who is a god, a evil god, I believe. And she is the goddess of winter and suffering, or cold and suffering. Yeah, she's a gem.
Have you ordered pizza yet?
I have not. I already ate. You guys go ahead and order.
You guys
Yeah,
wanna throw down on pizza? Yes?
I got
Yeah?
Yeah.
I got money.
Alright, make the order then.
Yeah, Auril the Frostmaiden is goddess of winter. She is neutral evil. And
Pizza. Not bad.
the people of Icewind Dale, the 10 towns, they all believe that Auril is pissed off about something. But they don't know what it is. Now, we'll get to some more information on that in just a moment. But so here's a question for Anthony's Warforged.
Yes.
Is Axel from Toril, being Faerun, or is Axel from Eberron? So the reason I ask that is that traditionally, Warforged are a part of Eberron. Now that's not to say that there's no way that they couldn't be created on in Forgotten Realms, but it's up to you. Do you want him to be from the realms?
He's from Eberron.
He's from Eberron. So,
You lost, son. Totally lost.
then the question. Yeah, you're really out
You
searching.
lost.
Then the question is, you're way up there. Let me see if there are.
Yeah,
Way
you can't
up
read the
there.
maps.
Turns out he's been holding the map upside down this whole time.
Damn.
Sometimes.
When's
Sometimes
it gonna
it's
get
been
tropical?
to the left, sometimes to the right. Who knows?
I have like plans going on me. I'm just walking in one direction.
One here. Oh no, because putting an index in the book would make too much fucking sense. You don't want that. That would be terrible.
I'm like 7'6", dude. I'm like a giant.
So you're a big robot.
Yeah. 7'3".
Alright, y'all. It's $5.99 a pizza. You want your own pizzas?
Yeah.
Sure.
$6.
I'll need to pay you. I can cover your D&D fee or something, because I don't have cash.
No worries.
But I can do PayPal.
No worries.
I don't have any cash.
No worries, man.
I have $6, but I just bring 8 because I get paid.
What you want on yours?
Pepperoni and pineapple.
Make 2 of them.
3 of them.
3 pepperoni and pineapple.
Apparently this is 3.
So
Anthony hates.
Actually, no, I want a Hawaiian.
On pizza. On pizza.
then pass
delicious.
this to Anthony. That is a list of Farinian gods.
Oh, that's nice.
You can pick one.
Actually, hamburger and black olive.
What?
What?
What? Oh my God! To go from Hawaiian to hamburger and black olive.
That's so good. Black olives on pizza are.
Do we have a cleric? He needs to have the evil cast out of him.
No. It's a necessary evil because it's delicious.
Yeah.
People would say it's the same thing about
Also, no, we don't have to.
pizza, so which I also love.
What?
That's true. There's some people that are
Anything
weird.
on pizza I love.
What
So.
veggies do you
Don't
want on
like
pizza?
green olives. But
I never
green
thought of
olives.
that.
Ugh.
Oh, I love green olives, especially when they've been doused in vodka.
Well, you're the DM, so I love green olives.
So, do you have a name yet?
Just call me Sam.
All right, you are Sam.
I
That's
already
my
know
first
that
one.
one.
Sans.
Do you need it?
Do you know anything about Sam?
Right. Things you want on your pizza?
Do you know anything about Sam? Like, what
pepperoni
is
and
Sam?
sausage. Very basic.
Sam
I do the
is,
Red Knight. I'm a Red Knight or.
He's just a friendly tavern goer. He likes the environment and atmosphere.
What race is he?
Yes.
So you know, yeah.
He's a kobold.
I'm thinking of a
I think
cheerful
Kobold.
halfling.
Okay.
Just
It's the war.
Samurai skin.
he doesn't go to the tavern so much for the alcohol as he does just for the environment,
And what class?
stories. This is my changeling bard.
Okay, so you're a bard. So I'm gonna pass around this deck of cards. You can draw one card. This card is yours to keep. Don't read it to me. Don't tell anybody what it is. Now, this is your secret. It is up to you to decide when or if you decide to tell anybody about it. I mean, you could theoretically draw the card. Once everybody has their card, say, oh, well, this is my secret, and tell the group. You could do that if you wanted to. Or you can wait, which a lot of times might be a better option, because there might be an advantageous point where you can disclose that information. And there's a possibility that you may never tell anybody what your secret is. So, I will pass this around. I don't even, they are already shuffled. I don't even know what each card is. So go ahead and take one off the top and pass it on.
Ta-da. I'm gonna take it off the bottom.
Wow,
Here's your secret.
You took 2.
No. Oh, I did.
Which
Well,
one?
look at this
Or
one.
for red water.
Okay,
This
so
one doesn't make
I meet
sense.
I meet the requirements for that one, so I don't need to worry about the second one.
This one, what? No.
That is your secret.
Some of them have requirements, so make sure that
You don't have to tell anybody. This doesn't make sense.
Well, then draw another one.
Yeah, this makes
How does it not make sense?
discuss with DM. In private. I have a lover.
Ooh.
Okay.
Oh, is that
That doesn't make
paladin?
sense. No, that does make sense, actually.
I'm a Warforged.
We're fully functional.
You know, you're an experimental.
Evidently, he doesn't know anything about real dolls.
Oh God.
Fully functional.
Minus 100
Yeah, but I just
XP
walked
to
in a
the
straight line
DM.
for a while.
Oh, my genie's patron's name is Ranish.
Ranish. Okay.
This doesn't make sense.
Well, Warforged can do that. I mean, they
my,
can't,
my,
like,
my character
they
would do
can't
that,
make
though.
babies. They what? No, they can't make babies.
That's
Well,
the,
they can make babies.
that's the theory.
They can't genetically make babies, but they sure can make them.
Hammer and a chisel. You're amazed what you can do.
It's like the movie Robots.
Oh, here's your.
That's
That
exactly
movie
what I
is
was
so
thinking.
weird. I used to like it for a little bit, but then I'm like, yeah.
It's a great movie.
What is it?
Robots.
The movie.
Oh, right.
When I was like 4, I loved it, but I'm like, I don't like it anymore.
So, you guys show up a couple days after Kronda and Crypt have already been bopping around Brynshander, and now here's the question:
Okay.
do any of you know one another? These two know each other.
Or, I've been everywhere. I think that would make sense, right?
You were in the what before me?
Tribe of Goliaths. 'Cause
Like it would
I
be,
was there since I was a newborn.
It would be possible that any one of you could be tied to Anthony's character.
I've just been like walking until I got there.
Yeah, any one of you could be tied to Axel.
He could be like in his old tribe. He could have been like a legend, kind of like the ancient wanderer or something.
Well, I mean, he's been wandering around Faerun since he got here, basically looking for purpose. So, any of these three could have run into him before.
Well, my character is a long-established member, has a long history in this area. So, who would have been around?
Well, I
longer?
just
And-
got
Longest.
I just got
You, but he just got here. So.
Yeah, so that might not fit. So,
I may have
Well,
seen
you
it
wouldn't
around.
have. When you say long history in the area, you mean long history on the Sword Coast, not necessarily Icewind Dale.
Oh.
Because I mean, Icewind Dale, I don't. The only people so far that are from that region would be Kronda and Crypt. I would think you're certainly not going to make a lot of money there.
hand that to Chris.
Anybody need a beverage too?
Sure.
that cost it?
I'll put diet.
So I've been,
I
I
prefer
have
to-
I've been a long history of as a merchant, or at least that's the. I had a lot of money, and I'm really old, and I'm trying to redeem myself.
You do
with-
Diet Pepsi.
And I have that secret involved. So
Dr. Pepper.
the question is,
You want to pass that back to him?
Damn it.
how
Coke brothers.
tied
Coke, Diet
into
Coke,
things
Coke,
am
and
I?
Sprite
Like-
and beer.
Secretive, and nobody really knows.
Root beer.
Can't go wrong with
The,
that.
you know,
Yeah, we're
or
Well, nobody would know about your secret.
I mean, including NPCs.
Oh, the NPCs aren't going to know who you are. But that particular situation is all kinds of a clusterfuck.
Yeah.
So,
Especially with a really detailed backstory like I've thrown at him, which could just be his cover story.
there's no reason to think that you're not who that card says, and your regular backstory can coexist.
Right.
You may not have even known all this time.
That's what I was going to go on. Okay. Until I
think
do know now.
I think that you two would know each other.
Okay.
Whether or not you tell him, he might be the only one that would know your secret.
So, and you're the Warforged that is new to the area,
Right.
Yeah.
paladin of which?
The Red Knight.
Red Knight. So why would he and I be, or why would he be tied into this?
Perhaps he found out about that, which is why I think you should let him read
Yeah,
it. So he may have found out about that and protected you at some point.
All right, so-
And maybe that's how you learned about it.
Yeah.
There might have been assassins that came after you and you didn't even know about it. You don't know why. And
I have
this
figured it out because I don't want to role play in my own ignorance.
right.
But this is news to me, and
Yeah.
and oh crap, got it.
The funny thing about that, so there's a video game, Neverwinter, MMO,
Oh yeah.
and it's
You
assumed
got my
that
back, right?
Yeah.
it's always assumed and portrayed in that game, and for the most part portrayed in the books, the individual mentioned in that is a good guy. But he's not. He's a fucking piece of shit. And this is why he's no longer in control of Waterdeep. This is why, I mean, so much. And he's actually killed off a number of people for that very reason. Because he doesn't want to give up the power. So, yeah. So, so you two know each other. You two don't know each other. But one night, Crypt and Heroda, you are sitting in, and actually I need to, here we go. You're sitting in the Northlake Tavern. You've been here maybe 4 days now.
Really ingratiated ourselves.
Yeah, you're sitting in the Northlake Tavern. You guys have a fairly good reputation around town. You helped out with some stuff. You found the stolen cutlery and items, and helped a researcher discover that there are elemental Chwinga up in the
We've
Dale
got a place
region.
to stay anytime we're in town.
And you got a place to stay because you returned their cutlery, and the dwarves have granted you a place to stay in any of the Battlehammer halls because you helped return their iron ingots. So you guys have you're I mean, you're not famous, but you have a good standing around town. And a newcomer, you see this halfling, just kind of not really performing so much as tootling around. What instrument do you play?
Violin.
Yeah, he's kind of messing around on his violin over in the corner next to the fire. And you see at another table, you see an all white with pink eyes albino lizard folk that is sitting as close to the fire without getting into the fire itself. Like if he could lay on the hearth and have the tavern's folk allow it, he would lay on those hot stones. Yeah, he's literally shivering. But you all also, in addition to any starting equipment, also, Anthony, do not forget, you have to do your background, or else your character's not ready to play. So you better open that book and make sure you have a background.
Yeah.
Because there are skills and equipment and starting money in there. But also, add to your starting equipment, everybody has cold weather clothing.
Do I need that?
You get the cold weather clothing as well.
You have it, even if you don't need it. It makes you look more.
Just because you're a robot doesn't mean you're immune to the cold.
Yep. The oil in your gears gets thick and you can't
Yeah.
breathe.
Wait, what page am I finding?
It's, if you look in the contents, there's a section called backgrounds. So now wait a minute, you're a Warforged. Where'd you get the stats for a Warforged? No.
No, it was from the book. It was just like pages from the book. I can read them.
Well, no, I'm going to give this to you, and you're going to make sure that everything checks out.
Races of Eberron. It's like 9 pages.
So, do you have quirks?
No.
Then you didn't make your character correctly. So yeah, here are Warforged race stats.
You want to grab this, Liam?
Oh.
You have quirks, and that'll tell you your possible age, height, all of that. Any special abilities.
Oh, Warforged here.
So you see this halfling sitting there plinking around, and you see a albino lizard folk, and then over at another table you see what race are you, Carl?
Human.
So you see a human sitting over there, dressed very peculiarly. He has
A wizened old bastard.
yes, and wearing his cold weather clothes, but he also has like a turban on. Where part of the turban is come undone, and he's got that kind of wrapped around to keep warm. And then next to him, you see. At first, you're like, "Is that a golem?" You've never seen this creature before.
I'm giant. Like 7 something.
So that wouldn't be giant. That's still medium size. A Goliath is still medium size.
He looks big.
Ooh.
Like,
Yeah.
New customers.
Right.
I better go put on my face.
That's me.
So we have two bards.
Look like a prospector.
yeah.
Yeah, I need a wooden peg leg and a
Wasn't that the
mining
guy
peg.
who like never showered?
Real quick,
Yeah.
would it change the story too much if
Brown
instead
papers.
of black Dragonborn I'd be white Dragonborn?
Oh, that's like a
Because
real dude.
I'm pretty sure I, huh?
No, that's fine.
Okay, because I really don't know why I picked.
I don't know why you picked black.
Dragonborn. It
Black
makes
Dragonborn
no
either.
sense at all. Huh?
This one, really. Yeah, that works. That's great.
I mean,
Yeah, I was gonna say you should have been white Dragonborn or silver Dragonborn or. Here's a question too for your paladin. What's your alignment?
Lawful good.
Good. Perfect.
It makes sense.
All right. And then not that it matters at level 1. Have you thought about what your oath is going to be at level 3? You'll figure it out. If you want to be like the classic paladin, you're lawful good and you go oath of devotion, and then you're like all the way back to like 1st edition D&D. That is what a paladin was. There wasn't all these different oaths that you could be. You certainly couldn't be chaotic good or whatever.
Neutral.
Or yeah, I'm a neutral paladin. Really? Are ya? You could be. I suppose I'd allow that. Lawful nature a little bit.
My first character was a halfling paladin of Timora.
Yeah.
Paladin. It was a weird one.
Yeah. Yeah. Using a long sword as a two-handed.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, very much so.
So you see these two by the fire, and you see this old guy and this what maybe is a golem of some kind sitting at a table. And you're putting on your makeup and sprucing up, right? You see this as well.
I'll put on an impromptu show now that I see we've got freshmen.
Trying to bilk a few more copper out of their bags.
Absolutely.
So, Crypt, would you like to approach any of these individuals? Because you've been here for the past 4 days and you've seen these same faces coming in and out of that door. Now, all of a sudden, you see 4 new people that you've never met before.
So he looks like he's shivering.
He looks like he's shivering.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm going to approach and be like, cold, buddy. Like, you need some help. It's quite warm in here.
Make an intelligence history check.
5.
You have never seen his race. The closest thing that you can equate it to,
I mean, I'm a white dragonborn.
right?
So,
But
he looks.
you grew up here from Hatchling,
Mm-hmm.
so you've never really been south of the spine of the world. You've never seen his race before. The closest thing that you can equate him to is a really big and feral-looking albino kobold. On the flip side of that, looking at him, you have heard tales of the few traders that that your Goliath tribe has dealt with, and that's not many, over the years. You've heard them tell tales of lizard-like beings in the south, far to the south. And you're wondering if this might be one of them, but you've never heard anybody talk about a white one before.
Yeah.
Maybe he's anemic.
Yeah, maybe.
Okay. So yeah.
Um,
You cold,
so-
buddy? You okay?
You asked the obvious questions, don't you?
Oh, the start of a beautiful friendship.
Okay. I'm turning around and leaving. I do not care at all now.
You also see these two, and you see him come over, and you kind of
Yeah.
chuckle at his response. Being the old,
Yes.
curmudgeon, you're like, you know.
Got away with making friends, do you? You're certainly out of your element here.
I was certainly out of my element where I came from as well.
Oh, really? Where'd you come from?
He's a marginalized lizard folk.
I mean, to see one of you warm, loving folk up here in the frozen hell is surprising, to say the least.
Well, I was kind of forced up here, seeing as how I was really different than the
Yeah.
others.
Oh, you're getting
I went
picked
to,
on
like,
because of
get
your
a-
skin
another
or
piece
because
of
you're so
pizza while you were
scrawny
gone,
and
I'm like,
small?
wait, the whole thing.
I elbow him because I'm joking.
Can't wait for that pizza now, huh?
I just laughed along. Well, probably because of my color.
Yeah,
They
I
can
can
never
see it.
tell.
The world's full of people who are closed-minded folks. Let me get you some brew. What's your favorite? Maybe that'll warm you up. Marky.
So they have a. So you're in luck. Some of the rumors that you've heard around the tavern is that Brynn Shander is one of the lucky ones, and that they brew a lot of their own, and they've got a Brynn Shander brandy, or actually a fire brandy. It's basically a mix of whiskey and brandy that a lot of the dwarves really like.
Oh yeah.
They also have their own ales that they Brynshander ales. But what you've heard around the tavern is that some of the other towns aren't so lucky. And so, for instance, some of the towns, because winter has lasted for 2 years, so the big thing in the 10 towns is fishing. And they fish Loch Danashire and Maridwalden, which are 2 inland lakes here. They fish those lakes for knucklehead trout. And knucklehead trout are ugly, and they're huge. They're enormous, like regular sized trouts, like this big, and they're so big their bones are used for carving scrimshaw, and that is a major export. And so they'll make like scrimshaw knife handles out of trout bones. So those are some big trout. Yeah.
I read when reading up on Goliaths, because originally I was going to be a Goliath.
Mm-hmm.
They make scrimshaw too,
Mhm.
right? So would I, as being raised by Goliaths, have like at least some experience doing
Yeah.
scrimshaw?
Yes.
Okay.
So, and I mean, obviously the ones that are exported to the south, the scrimshaw that's exported is done by excellent artists. But it seems like almost everybody around here is doing something. I mean, it's like going, for whatever reason, I don't know why this is, but like if you go to the coast and you go into one of these little shops and you want to buy a pocket knife, you can get them for like $3 a piece because they're everywhere. Same way here. And the problem is that the winter has lasted for 2 years, and so Maridwalden and Loch Danashire are, if not entirely, at least mostly frozen over. And so instead of sending out boats where they can get these things with nets, they got to dig a hole and drop a line and hope that they come back with something. And the other downside of that is that there are some locations, especially along Loch Danashire, between Caradinival and some of the other towns, there's a ferry that runs. And so because the lake is frozen over, the ferry can't run. And because the ferry can't run, these towns are not getting any ale because it's made in another town and then ferried over to the other one. And so there are some towns that are now, like I believe Caradinival is completely bone dry. And people are pissed off. So now they're cold, they don't have enough to eat, and they're sober. So nobody's happy. The other thing that, well, and you'll hear about this, as the waitress comes over and brings you tankards of ale and double shot glasses of fire brandy, you see go ahead and describe yourself to them, Rhoda.
Rhonda.
Or Rhonda.
Rhonda is massive. She's tall, she's broad, she's got like 50 chins, she's
At least.
she's
3 people in one body.
She is a massive woman.
She's the opera singer with the helmet and the horns from Bugs Bunny.
I remember. Yes.
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 I drew a little doodly doodle of her.
And quite good, as I might say.
Thank you. I was happy with it too. She's arrogant, she's vain, she's insecure, she's a teetotaler, she's a gossip. She has a kind of a self-important kind of messiah complex, very center of attention, super important, inflated ego, delusions of grandeur.
All around great person.
Yes. I'm playing her true neutral.
So I'm going to use you for just a moment. Don't threaten me with a good time. Make a performance check.
I see we have some new faces in the audience this evening. And what a time you've arrived for. Just in time for my very extra special afternoon, evening, whatever time it is, performance.
You three, yeah, it's getting dark. It's probably about 4 o'clock. and it's already getting dark outside. You see out the window, you can see the town militia is going around and lighting the torches outside, and it seems that there's a wind picking up. It looks bitter outside. The three of you, when she comes down and says that, you can see the barkeep from behind the bar kind of roll his eyes and just go back to spit shining a cup.
Allow me to soothe your minds, warm your spirits with a little ditty.
If he wants to talk, he'll talk to you and then you talk over him.
It's really going to be hard on the It's cool.
15.
So she starts singing. Do you want to start to accompany her?
Yeah.
All right, you can make a performance check with advantage. We'll call it a help action.
Do you need a magnifying glass?
No.
You okay? All right.
Don't hit me.
He's rolling grains of salt
23.
and pretending like he
Nice.
can read.
So this halfling that's been halfway planking on his violin starts to accompany a very dramatic operatic piece, and the three of you are kind of getting to know one another, and I would imagine that you introduce Axel.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
And
Real-
you're listening, and it dawns on you that the song that she's singing is speaking about current events. This is an original piece,
Wow.
and she's talking about current events. And one of the things that the song is about Auril, the Frostmaiden, and her fist-like grip on the Icewind Dale region, and how winter has killed many and frozen over. And it's to the point where the people of the 10 towns, and even some of the dwarves possibly of Kelvin's Cairn, believe that they have done something to anger Auril, and they must appease her in some way. And each of the towns is now offering a sacrifice of some kind. The thing that the song really, the crescendo of the song talks of a young man that was selected at random by lottery here in Brynshander, taken out into the forest, tied to a post,
As a sacrifice.
and left to freeze to death as a sacrifice to Auril.
Wow. Damn. I thought she was gonna sing "Kill the Wabbit" again.
Kind of. His name was Wabbit, actually.
Thank you. Thank you.
This is getting
I'll
pretty
have
bad.
you know that was an original. Thank you. I'm truly inspired. Thank you.
Come on over. That was breathtaking. Join us. I'm trying to arrange.
Sam, you
something.
make
I'm trying to get
3
something
copper,
moving here.
and Karonda, you make 4 copper.
Always happy to meet a fan. Always.
And they invite you over. They invite you over to their table. Are you going to join them, Sam?
I'll introduce everybody that's on this side, and I'll add. That was a wonderful performance. Disturbing topic. It's getting pretty ugly around here. So tell me more about this sacrifice. How do you know?
Yes, well, even the ugly can be amused. Don't you agree?
I would never disagree with a performer of your stature.
Oh, you flatter me, you old thing, you.
Okay, so we're chatting, and I'm trying to work a deal here because I've heard that Greenwater is really hard up for supplies, which Brynshander has.
Well, allow me to. I'm going to read this to set the scene.
And I don't want to be here
Yeah, this place
People are
sucks.
trying to kill me, and I want to get the hell out of here.
Just another gruesome day in 10 towns. Howling wind, bitter cold, foul tempers, and snow drifts big enough to bury a herd of moose. But today, the local tavern is abuzz with news about a series of recent killings. Before the murders, the only question on everyone's mind was, will Summer ever return to Icewind Dale? Now the question is, will I be the killer's next victim? Nothing breeds fear and paranoia like a murderer with no face. 3 cold-blooded murders have been committed in the past month. A halfling trapper in East Haven, a human shipbuilder in Targos, and 3 days ago, a dwarf glass blower here in Brynshander.
So you said Targos, Brynshander, and what else?
And East Haven.
East Haven, damn. Okay.
The victim was found with a dagger of ice through his heart. What's the connection?
Dagger.
The drunken lot huddled in the tavern offers no credible ideas, but sitting apart from them is an elderly shield dwarf with a nasty scar across his nose who looks like she has something worth knowing. She's been smoking her pipe and eyeing the lot of you ever since.
Aha. Wow.
And
she got very interested after that song that you sang.
yeah, after you guys start to get to know one another, the barkeep comes over and drinks are on the house for the lady and her friends.
Yeah.
And this
Ooh, what a dear.
this female shield dwarf with a scar across her nose, smoking her pipe, comes up.
And we'll scooch over and I'll pull up a chair for her. Old school
Thank you.
etiquette.
Thank you. My name is Glen Trollbane.
Lynn?
Glen.
That's introductions all around.
Says, I think I know something about these murders.
Oh, yeah. Do tell. They're very very frightening.
Yeah, but
Who knows who could be next? And I kind of look at Axel, because I'm thinking I'm next.
out of boredom and perhaps a wee bit of moral decency, I've taken up the task of investigating this entire situation. Not even the Council of Speakers can be bothered to be asked any questions. They won't tell me anything. But I've dug a little deeper than that. There's a man named Sefik Keltro.
Pacific Keltro.
Sefik Keltro works for a small traveling merchant company called Torgs, owned and operated by a shady dwarf named Torga Icebane. In other words, Sefik gets around. He's charming, he makes friends easily. He's also Torga's bodyguard, so I'm guessing he's good with a blade. His victims come from only 3 towns, and they all are towns that sacrifice people to the Frostmaiden on nights of the new moon. This is what passes for civilized behavior here in Icewind Dale. Maybe the victims found a way to keep their names out of the drawings, eh? And Sefik found out they were cheating, so he killed them. Maybe, just maybe, Sefik is doing the Frostmaiden's work. I followed Torg for a 10-day as it moved from Icetown to Icetown. Quite the devious little enterprise, but that's not my concern. What struck me is how comfortable Sefik Kelto looked in this weather. No coat, no scarf, no gloves. It was like the wind couldn't touch him. Kiss of the Frostmaiden, indeed. I will pay you each 100 gold pieces to apprehend Sefik Keltro, ascertain his guilt, and deal with it, preferably without involving the authorities. When the job is done, return to me and collect your money.
Now, Sefik is a merchant.
Sefik is the bodyguard. So there's a trading company called Torgs, and Sefik is the bodyguard of the company owner, Torga Icevane,
Torga.
who is a dwarf.
Torga is a traveling merchant or
Yeah,
something like that.
Torga, Torgs travels from town to town using dog sleds,
Okay.
trading basic sundries that all of the towns need. Now, Glen tells you she says, I don't know where Torga Icevein gets her merchandise, but I don't believe that it's all on the up and up.
Now, my backstory is that I was a merchant for 60-something years in this area, and very successful.
She says, I believe that a lot of the merchandise that Torga Icevein trades to the towns comes up from Luskin, and before that, it may have accidentally fallen off a boat, if you know what I might mean. You know that Luskin is currently known as the City of Pirates. The entire city is run by pirates.
Right.
So anything that Torga Icevein would be getting from Luskin would be illicit.
Right. And I've been doing trading for a long time, and that doesn't necessarily mean that you're evil or harming folks, especially in an area like this that's suffering so bad. Any resources that are brought in are doing good, because this place is dying. Does Torga have a bad reputation?
Well, Torg is disagreeable, but Torg is really not my concern. You're going to want to, anything that you do with Cephalic Caltro, you're going to want to leave Torga out of it, or hopefully Torga doesn't find out at least right away. But I have a bigger concern. I mean, she looks out the window, and she points at the window with her pipe. She says, look at the wind and the ice and the snow blowing out there right now. And that son of a bitch is walking around right now in a vest and a partially unbuttoned shirt with his sleeves rolled up. Who does that?
Well,
That's damn strange. I've lived in this region my entire life, and I don't go out unless I'm wearing furs. She looks at you and she says, he's a white dragonborn. Even he wouldn't go outside in this.
I've traveled a good bit in my time, and I've seen a lot more than what just shows up here in Icewindale. There are magic artifacts of such nature that protect you against these kind of environments that can be had if you have sufficient coin.
That
So it's
that
not
is true.
necessarily a sign of perfidy, but this bodyguard, to have such an artifact, is suspect, if that is the case. So it does not let him off the hook. It just means he has perhaps some questions to answer.
A partially drunk townsperson at another table says, I know exactly about those kind of artifacts. Did you hear not too long ago that the guy got into a fight with some frost giants and he left? I tell you, he's got the Ring of Winter.
The Ring of Winter. Oh, that's
Everybody make an Arcana check.
that is way more than.
Oh wow, I got an 18. I have no bonuses.
Oh yeah, I'll try to have dice.
8.
I miss my old Arcana.
16 here.
Okay.
18.
What'd you get?
18.
Okay.
11.
What did Axel get?
A 2.
Okay. So, sorry, I'm still learning you guys' new names.
Yeah. Well, Turpin knows about these things
So-
as a cost, trading.
Turpin, Juck Jock, and believe it or not, Crypt, all of you are like, the Ring of Winter in D&D, the Ring of Winter may be one of the most powerful artifacts ever created. I mean, we're talking about on the line of like, the Hand of Vecna, or Honestly, it makes an orb of dragon kind of look stupid. The Ring of Winter is massively powerful. And this drunkard's like, what was his name? Artist Simber. And the Frost Giants, they chased him out of Icewind Dale. Last I heard, he went south somewhere.
Mainly what I've heard about these types of items, I don't know much about the Ring of Winter specifically, except that they bring vast wealth to whomever trades them. They're rumored to be one-of-a-kind artifacts.
And Glen Trollbane says, vast wealth or a quick grave.
Can I make a deception check to feign complete disinterest?
Sure.
But still keep listening. I want to take it all down mentally. Be like,
So-
oh no.
Glen Trollbane tells you that if you go after him, and then come back dealing with him, that she will pay each of you 100 gold pieces. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's 600 gold pieces.
Now we're talking about items of near legendary significance here.
She says, if he has anything on him, I'm not interested in it. Keep it for yourselves.
All it is around here, everybody's out for themselves. It's one of the things that I've got to change. Well, I'm currently in between tasks right now, looking to make the world a better place.
She tells you, she says, take it or don't. But I can tell you that Torgs left Brynshander and headed in the direction of Targos to the northwest. They went up.
Darling, you negotiate with a nice lady. I need a fresh cup of yak's milk.
Well, is this man so? It is interesting and potentially a little disheartening to think that such a rogue would have the Ring of Winter or any artifact on him. It just doesn't seem plausible that such items usually find their way to powerful people, not bodyguards. So it is somewhat interesting that that's rumored to be the case. I'm more concerned with how you believe this ties into the murders. Because if a man has wealth on his body or person, I don't feel it's a need to take it from him just because he's been lucky.
She says, well, I have a theory about all of that. She says, I don't believe that, I don't believe in all these sacrifices.
That disturbs me much more than some
But I think
man.
that this Cephalic Caltro is actually an agent of Oral. And whenever there's somebody who cheats the system and they get out of being the sacrifice, he hunts them down and kills them in Oral's name.
These sacrifices are abhorrent. Yes,
You'll have no argument from me.
so some of us have been here for a good long time, right?
These two grew up in the region, more or less.
So let's give some background on these sacrifices.
Okay.
Like, how long have they been going on, and what's the common understanding of chunking random people out into the frozen wastelands to die?
So they've been going on for probably, I mean, it's been winter for over 2 years. And so these have been going on for at least a year. Now, some towns don't sacrifice people. Some towns, they decide that for one night, they're going to sacrifice their warmth, so they don't allow any candles or fires or anything.
Yeah.
And they all sit there in misery for a night. Another town will leave out racks of dried fish. And, you know, the
Okay.
crag cats will come down and eat the dried fish. And so they believe that is a sign that Oral, in the form of a crag cat, has taken her bounty. But some towns are just sacrificing people.
Was it Brynn Shander one of those towns that sacrificed?
It was. And Brynn Shander was where just 3 days ago a dwarven glassblower was killed.
Iced.
Yeah, and all of the victims have died with a icy shard in their heart.
Well, I am totally in favor of learning more about these sacrifices and putting an end to it. So if we've got this guy is rumored to be an agent of Arl, and we need to find out some more about this stuff so we can stop these murders and figure out bring some rational thought to all these crazy fears that people have that are leading to kill their fellow man.
Okay.
So we'll take you up on that.
All right.
Not as an agent of your vengeance, or even your concept of justice, but to learn more about what is going on here, and if there's a way to put an end to these mindless sacrifices.
Whatever it takes, moral decency can be an excellent compass.
Well, who here has got some free time? Well,
I follow you.
Axel.
I wouldn't say that you follow him.
I
You're-
think he follows you.
Yeah, you know,
Yes.
I mean, you're a free agent.
He's my
You're
rock.
the wanderer.
He's my rock that keeps me from getting killed.
You just stand behind him and they came until you're there.
You know who I think you would not look like necessarily, but like who I think your character kind of reminds me of a little bit. You know, in like Castle in the Sky from Studio Ghibli, the golems, machine kind
yes.
of things.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I love all
that's what
studio.
Iron Golems in Minecraft are based on.
All right.
Back.
So we've got the background. We understand about these sacrifices and these people that have been iced, and
Yes.
We have a unsubstantiated piece of intelligence that says that they somehow cheated the system and are being executed. And we have again an unsubstantiated story that the assassin that does this is this guy. What was his name? What's his name? The one that's
Never
Cephik Paltrow.
Cephik. That Cephik is the killer,
Yes.
and so somehow or another, and that Cephik is going around killing people on behalf of
Pizza.
some sort of justice.
You can set up one of those folding tables behind you.
So doing justice for Arl, because these people are cheating the system, and Arl apparently wants these sacrifices to be fair, which I find like 15 leaps in leaps of faith in the story here.
Okay.
But that's okay. Let's go find something out.
So, the inn's proprietor, Scramsax, comes over and brings over another platter of meat and ale, and Glen Trollbane pays him for it. And she flips him a gold piece, and she says, "Put all of them up here in the Northlake for the night. You're not going to be wanting to leave tonight. It's too cold and breezy out. You'll want to head out in the morning." And so You've all been set up with rooms for the night in the Northlake Tavern and Inn. The next morning comes, and there was evidently a blizzard came through. Pushing the door open to get out of the inn, you have to literally use the door to shovel snow and ice out of the way. And you can see a number of people. When you're out on the streets of Brynshander, it is hard to tell whoever anybody actually is. Everybody's bundled up. Now, one of the things that these two discovered when they first came into town, they had saw somebody who was being suspicious and were told to not pay them any mind because occasionally kobolds, when they feel that they are in danger of some kind, will stand on each other's shoulders and wrap a large coat around them and put the hood up and trying to mimic people, and that's what they were. You don't see anything like that right now, but you see a number of everybody going around is wearing furs and their hoods are up and their scarves are around their face, and they, it is bitter, bitter cold. The journey to Torgs on foot will take you about 2 hours. Now, you all have snow weather or cold weather gear, and along with that, you have snowshoes. So you can walk to Torgs, and it'll take 2 hours, or you could go to a local shop, and you could purchase or rent dog sleds.
I'll do a little mercantile data collection. What does Brynn Shander have that Torgs does not?
It's all tech level 4 or lower.
It's probably not.
I said it's all tech level 4.
Yeah, it's all tech level 4 level.
Yeah. They're probably not really much there because they're not cut off like Caravan involved.
Right.
Yeah. Grab Liam.
But if I could load up on a barrel of
Shut the door.
flame
The door.
fire brandy or something like that and make a profit by getting to Torgs and selling it.
Yeah, you probably could. Fire brandy always sells well.
Okay, if that's something that would do good, I'll see how much I can buy with, say, 50 gold.
Okay. So 50 gold. Let's see here.
No, I'm good. Thank you.
50 gold of fire brandy, you can get 2 barrels.
Okay.
These are full-size barrels.
All right. Well, we'll do that.
So you'll definitely need a dog sled.
I can probably carry it.
You could probably carry at least one of them.
No, I have a merchant's dream. I have a pendant that's a 20-foot radius circle with a 20-foot ceiling where my genie used to live.
Oh, that's right. You're, yeah, you could just put it
I have
in your
a
genie's.
massive bag of holding.
Yeah, you could put them into your genie's lamp. That's true. Okay. Yeah, so there again, do you want to walk the 2 hours through the snow or do you want to do dog sleds? Now here's the problem with dog sleds. If you use dog sleds, that can cut the travel time down to an hour. However, if you don't have proficiency land vehicles, it's problematic. Now the dogs, of course, they know the route to Torgs, and the dogs are just going to go on that route. But should something come along, I guess if something were to happen and you don't have proficiency, you could make animal handling checks at disadvantage.
I've been a merchant for as long as I can, for my entire life. So if we rent the dogs, I'm not sure how much that would cost for the sleds, but we'd also probably get a handler.
Oh, you want to hire a guide?
That's the way merchants do it. Yep.
Okay.
You go for expertise.
So, a guide from here to Targos, they'll charge the group 5 gold pieces.
To shave an hour off of this, but this is pretty.
The total cost for dog sleds, and a dog sled will hold 2 people, one riding or one laying in the sled itself. Assuming that you're not taking gear with, a load of gear, but if you're just carrying your own gear in a backpack.
How much weight can they pull?
360 pounds.
They can't take it.
What?
I'm heavy.
You don't weigh more.
No.
Your character's only going to be like 7 feet tall.
You're titanium.
Now he's wood and adamantine.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, you're like 7 feet tall. You maybe weigh 300 some odd pounds.
Oh, I thought it was like.
No. So the dogs can pull, like, he would have to have his own sled, but the rest of you. So 1, 2, 3, 4 sleds, and on his sled he could, or whoever wants to ride solo, you could have whatever extra equipment that you want loaded in there, like maybe your backpacks and whatnot are loaded in there. So you're looking at.
Rhonda better have her own sled.
So you can ride in the sled. Well, I would think that Rhonda would want to lay in the sled.
Mm-hmm.
Rhonda doesn't want to stand for an hour. Yeah. So for 10 gold total, they'll rent you the sleds and a guide, and that will allow you to get to Targos in an hour
Instead of 2.
instead of 2.
I don't know that I've got enough profit margin on my 2 barrels of fire brandy to make that a
So you
decent
spent 50 gold?
Yeah.
Rhonda can put 5 on it.
Okay.
And we don't really understand the risks of travel yet.
So these two can tell you that the risks are fairly great. Not so much when you're traveling between towns, especially as close as Brynshander and Targos is. But if you set out from open tundra, for instance, you could leave Targos and travel to Caer-Dineval by not taking the normally traveled routes around the towns. You just turn and go across the tundra. Now you're generally asking for trouble because there's Yeti, there's crag cats, there's, knock on your nearest icicle, dragons. But first and foremost, you're probably going to be running into crag cats and Yeti. But that could still happen traveling between towns too, but it's far fewer, especially in a short distance here.
I'm not feeling the need.
Okay.
I mean, I'm just one man, and actually, I guess I'll just meet you there. Axel will go with you guys, and I'll meet you there.
So you're just walking.
He's going to carry the phylactery.
Okay.
Or
or the lamp.
the vessel.
Yeah.
And I'm going to ride in air-conditioned comfort.
Oh, I see.
I'm 90-something freaking years old. Suck it up, people.
You're gonna ride the lamp with your genie patron, and yeah.
It's just me. He emptied it and said, "Here you go." According to the.
If you wanted to purchase them before leaving, the local outfitters general store. Not only do they have all of the equipment in the player's handbook, but they also sell crampons for 2 gold pieces.
I believe in having equipment for.
How much money do you have?
I have like 6. I have 0 armor. I have 1 dagger. So I have pretty much all my gold except for the stuff I have to have. So 78.
78 gold.
But I'm going to minus 50. And then I'm going to buy crampons because I believe in having gear.
Yeah, you don't really want to get stuck on an ice sheet or climbing up a steep embankment and not have crampons. That's
Ron would rather die.
snowshoes on ice are of no use whatsoever, but crampons are.
So 2 gold, or 2 gold per left foot, right foot. What's the?
It's 2 gold total.
Okay.
Oh, I bet it's 1 gold per shoe.
Yeah, crampons are great. Just make sure you don't clip the string. Oh wait, that's the wrong.
I'll buy some as well.
Okay.
Let's see.
Anybody else?
Alright, I'll spend 40% of my gold.
2 gold is 40% of your gold.
I have 5
Ah, level 1.
Remember when we had like 30,000 gold?
Yeah, that's fine.
Oh, speaking of ludicrous amount of
Any
gold,
money from your background?
how much?
That is my gold.
How much money? Like, so, Northlake got his fortune in gems, right?
Basically, yeah.
How much money was that? Like,
Oh Jesus, Ted, a lot. Like, I don't know. I mean, you guys at level 20, you guys were so wealthy that I don't think that there's really a need to put a number on it at this point.
No.
I mean,
If we want it, we bought it.
Sky's the
right?
limit.
Yeah. I mean, you could basically buy whatever you want.
We could have bought water.
Essentially, at level 20 coming out of Undermountain from last campaign, you essentially could have bought, if you didn't already somehow gain one, you could have bought titles. You could have bought, essentially, you could have maybe bought your way,
Fiefdoms.
you know, a little money here and there, and greasing some palms. You could have bought your way into being a masked lord of Waterdeep. You know, which is mostly, masked lords are all mercantile or guildsmen. You know, maybe you represent the North Ward. You know, you have enough money. Money makes a lot of people powerful, and it's not just because they have money, it's because of what they can do with the money. Doesn't mean you spent it. It just means that you have the ability to spend it.
It's just a measure of how your potential
Right.
is.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Northlake just wants to become a master.
So did you want to
smith,
spend
like,
your money on dog
incredible
sleds
smith.
or walk?
Walk.
simple life?
I'm like
Probably be
for
done.
1 hour. I mean, it's like going from 2 hours of walking and 1 hour of dog sledding. You're gonna-
Rhonda's riding in a pile of furs on a dog sled.
There you
Try
go.
not to hit too many bumps, dearie.
Oh, I forgot what I was looking for. We got into, you got me off on a tangent. I forgot.
All right.
Sometimes freezes because it's so cold.
Seeking.
Pour a little warm water on it.
So just FYI, while you're looking it up, the vessel, according to Tasha's, says, my patron gifts me a magical vessel that grants me a measure of the genie's power. This, in my case, the vessel is a crystal vial that's attached to a leather cord that I wear as a necklace. I'm going to give it to him.
Okay.
It can be used as spellcasting focus. It's got armor class and hit points, and it's immune to psychic and blah blah whatever. And I can rebuild it after an hour. It is as an action, I can vanish and go inside of my vessel. It's a 20-foot radius cylinder, 20 feet high. I've got a floor plan, so the one floor is living with 2 bedrooms and bathrooms and all that, and kitchen and all that crap, and the other floor is just work tables and storage for barrels of fire whiskey in this case.
So you
And
basically got a small house.
I have a large house, yes.
He's got a full living space.
Uh-huh. And let's see, I think I can maybe, yep, and then I can use a bonus action to leave, and there we go. So, and if it gets destroyed, it takes me an hour to make a new one, blah, blah, blah. But basically, I mean, I'm not sharing this in public a whole lot, but this is like a merchant's freaking dream. I could load this up with unimaginable amounts of stuff.
It gives you other benefits too, obviously.
Well, it's my spellback casting focus.
Right.
Just throw bags of gold in there.
Side note, I don't know who here has
Wait a
a
minute.
decent running gaming PC, but We just picked up Dungeons and Dragons Dark Alliance. I don't care what the reviews say. The game's freaking awesome.
It is great.
It is a fucking ton of fun. Yeah, we grouped up and have been running around beating the crap out of stuff. We just made it to Act 2. We've only played the first act.
I've actually never heard of New Dungeons and Dragons.
So it is.
It just came out like.
Yeah, it just came out like on Tuesday, and it is a 4-player co-op. You can play Drist, Wolfgar, Catti-Bree, or Brunner Battlehammer. And
Brunner's awesome.
yeah, Brunner is pretty awesome. And you just run through. It's a third person, and you run through, just run these dungeons. And there's loot to pick up, and you can level up the character and change how they look and pick up new magic items.
And there's short rest or you.
Yeah, and like after a lot of the either mini bosses or major bosses are short rest areas where you can rest up, get your hit points back. And when you do a short rest, they give you 3 more healing potions that you can drink along the way, which, you know.
So it's like a hack and slash.
It's a linear hack and slash. That's
Alright.
It's not. It's not like Diablo. It's more like
Here's the thing.
it'd be like a cross between Diablo and Gears of War, really. There's not a whole lot of story. It's, you know, but like the first opening scene is Brunner and the companions going in and liberating Mithril Hall from the goblins. So this goes way back to the Crystal Shard book series.
Wow, yeah.
And so they go in and you see these goblins tearing down dwarven monuments and whatnot, and then the goblins are basically interrupted by a female white dragon named Icewind. And that's basically the beginning of the whole thing. But yeah, it's an awesome game. Very, very, very fun game.
Yeah, I was playing it a bit the other day.
Yeah. Did you get it on PC or?
Xbox. I got it
Xbox.
free on Xbox.
Nice.
Was it cross?
Yeah, so they do have crossplay, and the first patch that they're working on, there are some bugs. They're working to fix those, but the first patch that they're working on